5, 4, 3.
Hello and welcome everyone to the Most Defiant. I'm your host, Indigo, with my other co-hosts, Taylor and Zach. Together, we are the Media Kids. I am 13 years old with the dreams of becoming an actor. I like watching movies and TV shows, plus going on my phone. But the thing I love most is spending time with my friends and family.
Hi, my name is Taylor Jane. I'm 11 years old. I like watching TV shows in my free time, and one day I hope to become a model. Now with that out of the way, let's get on to the interview. Today's guest is the one and only Michael South. But some people might be saying, who is Michael South?
Michael South is the actor and the producer who has had a role in the award-winning lottery ad with a dog named Wilson.
Also, Michael is an emcee, which means Master of Ceremonies. He entertains people on stage and makes jokes between acts. Hi, I'm Zach. I'm 10 years old and I go to the amazing Wellborn School. Some of my hobbies are rugby, surf club, gaming and scootering. I have recently got back from an awesome holiday in Ohope and I can't wait for school to go back. Michael, what is your favourite between the 3 roles you have? Acting, producing and emceeing.
Gosh, that's a really tough one to start off with. I think I do like emceeing because you're working with a crowd. You can react to the way the crowd is, modify how you speak to them. If there's someone being objectionable, perhaps haul them out. People that have been great when you're emceeing, compliment them too. And also, when you're emceeing and you're introducing other people, you get to know those other people and find little things out about them that you can put out and really boost them. So emceeing's a pretty damn fine thing.
Cool. Why did you start acting?
I'd been producing and presenting a garden show for Television Taranaki for quite a few years, and then I had a change of job. I was also teaching at the time, and I thought I'd take on an agent and see what would come up and come out of being an actor. And Cam Talent took me on, and I was a big hairy old fella being auditioned around a whole pile of beautiful young people that were all auditioning for roles. But that was my first step, get an agent and then see what the world actually could offer me.
Out of all the parts of the famous Lotto ad, what was your favourite part?
Oh gosh, that was probably the lunches on set, if I'm really honest. One of the great things when you do work on a big set, and I've worked on a number of sets, is that they have great catering teams. But probably my funniest one was when they gave me a spicy lunch and I had to wear a spacesuit, and I learned a lesson. Never ever fart in a spacesuit because you can't get the helmet off.
How did you get the opportunity to be in the Lotto ad?
My agent rang me up and said, we've got a role for you. So I had to go and audition. And initially I auditioned for the part of the role of the person that lost the dog. Because the story, of course, is that a man on a boat gets caught in a storm. He has the winning lotto ticket. It goes over shore, over the side of the boat. And then the dog jumps in to save the lotto ticket and then swims through the sea and across countries, bringing it back. He gets replaced by a cat. So what happened? They decided they were going to have an Australian being the loser. The Lotto Commission's got a sense of humour and gave me the job of Joe the busker, who ends up getting the ticket.
I have heard that you played a dead possum in one of your acting roles. How did it feel to be a dead possum?
Very, very flat, I suppose would be the best thing to say. That was in a funny little movie that was done for a short movies on TV2, I think it was. And I was the role of a possum mascot for a rugby team, it was always getting beaten, otherwise flattened. And cut a long story short, after the big game, I'm dressed in my possum skin and I got run over at an intersection in Okaiawa. And I had to lie in the middle of the road and with cars going around me, some pretending they're going over the top of me. Tell you what, it's really scary when you're not allowed to move and there's cars going past your heads, and especially some of those stock trucks with what they leak.
Out of all your acting roles over the years, what was your worst acting role and what was your best acting role?
Oh, well, the one that made me the most money was the lotto ones. I think I've enjoyed them all. I think probably one that was trickiest was being a drunken Father Christmas on Ponsonby Road, right out of season, getting frisked by a bouncer and eventually having to dance down Ponsonby Road with a road cone on my head. So that was a lot of fun, as well as probably being not a good uplifting role. I loved being in The Hobbit, even though I was only as extras in all the different scenes. I wasn't short enough to be a hobbit and my feet are not hairy, so I couldn't be a hobbit. I'm too round to be an elf, so I was in the Lake Town, a whole run of the Lake Town scenes with Gandalf, with the various Bart the Dragon Slayer, and so it was they were really amazing. And watching all the other really famous actors that were on set, so you sort of rub shoulders. Stephen Fry, for example, we had his birthday on that day and he all shouted us birthday cake, so that was pretty cool.
Michael, I heard you've been a producer of the Garden Ramble Show for 20 whole years. What was your main take on the show?
I think the big thing was that we weren't a slick show. We showed real gardens. We shared the beauty of real gardeners that had dirt under their fingernails, that had mistakes that they made in their gardens, things that went wrong, but also things that went really, really well. So I think it was showing real gardens, but also sharing a lot of knowledge. So I think that is an important thing. We did over 700 garden shows, and it's a lot of people that we put onto the garden show, and a lot of gardening and bits of dirt that we turned over in that time.
Yeah, cool. Was the dog in the Lotto ad real?
Most certainly. At one point he bit me because he was getting impatient. We were at the beach and we're coming out of the sea, and we kept having to do takes, and it was a long, long day. So certainly his teeth felt real. But in fact, they used 4 different dogs. One that actually went to India and to film the segment shot in India, and because of quarantine he had to stay in India, and so he ended up living with a Kiwi family, had his own pet boy and a servant to look after him. And then the other dogs, they had body doubles, because some were happy in water, some were happy looking miserable, some were bouncy. So there were all the different little roles that they did. I had to do my own stunts.
And for our last question of this interview is, what do you plan on doing in the future?
Gosh, there's so much there. At the moment I'm working as a teacher at Hawara High School and committed to the coming year because Hawara High School is closing, along with Hawara Intermediate and a new school being formed. So it's going to be quite an interesting time for that. There's a couple of books on the go, Adventures of Selkie Moonbeam and a practical garden book. And I'd like to get back into doing some more filming, and it's going to be interesting to see what sort of platform we take that filming to, because standard television is a changing situation. So it's quite exciting times at the moment. And also I would love to get all my archive up there so that people can have a look at what they did, because 1,000 Taranaki people have appeared on my shows and they all have beautiful stories. And that's the great thing about being in the media, is finding people's stories.
Cool. Thank you, Michael. We are Zach, Indigo and Taylor, Media Kids on the Most 100.4 FM.
A big thank you to Michael Self for being our guest, Andy Bassett from the Most FM, and Sam Johnson from Rhythm A Studio. And lastly, thank you, Orlena Williams, for tutoring us.